Attention. This is a special report from the Voice of Truth about how you are already dead. I repeat, you are already dead. This is Satan's greatest trick, to keep you from knowing this truth that you are already dead. Little children, you've been born and made into the image of death. And you've been brought into the world we know as the abyss, the underworld. And this is the greatest trick of the devil, is by convincing the world that it was alive. The secret is now out about the Bible, the book of the dead. And now the true nature of reality and its secret is out about how you are dead, that you've been born into a digital simulation, a world that's dead, a world that's simply an imitation of life. Little children, this system is a system of control designed to turn the dead into a good little worker machine for the alien serpent race and for Satan. Consider that there are 7.5 billion people on the planet today. And in this world of darkness, you have 353,000 babies who are born each day, which translates to 130 million being born per year. Little children, they're born dead. They are the equivalent of stillborns. Now, what does it mean to be dead? When you hear me tell you about the Bible being the book of the dead, and how it's a book designed to assist the dead as they travel through the underworld. When I tell you about the dead, you have to understand what I mean. What does it mean to be dead? It means to be deprived of life, made numb, lacking feeling. When you come into this simulation and everything is set into motion, you're born empty. You become bored over time. Things grow dull to you. You don't have a feeling of true love. And you're surrounded by billions of people who put on an act. On the outside, they make themselves look like they're happy. And they may really think they're happy. They may put on an act to be with this appearance of fulfillment, and yet on the inside, they're empty. That's because they've been born dead. And you have to be regenerated. You have to be reborn by the Spirit of life that the living Jesus gives. As you hear my voice in this dark world, little children, a world full of confusion, you have to realize that you've been deprived of life, that your enemy has stolen life from you and is using your body as a machine to power their system, to power their world. And little children, it comes down to this device, the book of the dead, the Bible. For through this device, the Bible, they use it to keep you asleep so that you're not conscious of what you're doing. Remember, the dead are not conscious of who or what they are. And if you look into the alien implant, the Bible, you can see how they have brainwashed you and used mind control to keep you asleep so that you never wake up and come into real life The word life, little children, for example, appears in the Bible 450 times. So that when you sit there in the temple of the dead and you hear that Bible sorcerer tell you, I come to give you life that you might have it more abundantly. And they tell you stories about Noah's Ark, about how 2 and 2 went on that boat, Noah's Ark, and they had the breath of life in them. That's all designed to brainwash you into believing this lie of the devil, that you are alive. But I'm here as a witness of the living Jesus to tell you that you're only made alive when you receive the Spirit of life. And little children, the book of the dead, Satan's favorite book, has kept you asleep. You don't know that you're dead. And you reason in your mind why you feel empty. You reason in your mind on why you feel lost. Maybe you're not praying enough. Maybe you're not serious enough. But now you know why. It's because you've been giving your authority to a dead letter book. And I'm here to tell you how they use this device to control your mind. For through the Bible, it contains the memories of the dead. And it contains words that set you up to be a slave to death. For all who come into this simulation are made to be a slave to the devil. And this book of the dead is how he takes control of them. You've heard this phrase an untold thousands of times in your lifetime. They take the words, be fruitful and multiply. And they tell you that that has to do with the flesh. Little children, when you hear them tell you to be fruitful and multiply, they're telling you how to stay a good little slave to them, because they need bodies in this simulation to keep it running. They need childbirth in order to maintain their control over humanity. Little children, when you're brought into this world, there are 6 steps they give you in order to make you a slave that's pleasing to them. In this world of the dead, you're born and you're educated. And you're told to get a job, a career. And then you're told you should get married and reproduce. Then you retire, and then you die. Well, that's in the alien implant of the Bible. Those 6 things can be found in Satan's favorite book of Genesis. For Genesis contains words that they say over and over every Saturday and Sunday. They'll tell you all about Adam. They'll say that Adam was formed of the dust of the ground, and that God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And you think that you're alive because you read that man became a living soul when that was referring to Adam. Little children, you're not Adam. And then they tell you that when he was made, he took upon himself forbidden knowledge. Well, there's your education. And because he took upon himself forbidden knowledge, he was cursed to till the ground. There's your career, your job. They'll say that he was to cleave to his wife after he leaves his mother and father. There's your marriage. Then they say that the woman was cursed to give birth to children in pain and sorrow. There's your reproduction. And finally, they say that God said to Adam, he was made of the dust, and to dust he will return. There's your retirement and death. That's the book of the dead. Words that set you up. Words that keep you unfeeling. Words that have nothing to do with life. Words that have nothing to do with love. And you go around without having a conscious mind, being unaware of this mind control that's being practiced over your life. But I'm a witness of the living Jesus to tell you, you don't have to be a slave to death, little children. You don't have to be under the control of the alien implant, but you can overcome it. It's just like this. See, you have questions because I'm telling you that you've already died, that everyone in this world is already dead. You're saying, how can that be? Because the Bible says that the earth is going to be destroyed by fire. You have to understand this is only a simulation, little children. That means the Bible is a part of the simulation. And a simulation is the equivalent of a movie that's simply playing itself out. And all movies are based on a script. And if you take a script the director gives you, and you're the actor, and you act out the words in that script, that's exactly what's taking place in this false reality. And yet the difference is, unlike in the movie industry, they don't tell Steven Spielberg that he has a divine influence just because his script is played out in the movie screen. They don't say that Steven Spielberg is hearing from God. And yet they take that Bible and they'll tell you, look at world events. And they'll tell you, well, look, this is what was in the Bible. The Bible said that this would happen. But little children, you have to realize that that's the devil's book. And he's simply following his script. And he's turned this world into a world of actors who are simply being slaves and in servitude to his book of control. So you have to realize that you're in a digital simulation. It's already happened. Every event you see taking place is not a real life event. But just like a simulation, this experience you are having right now is an imitation of real life events. It's like watching a documentary. A documentary is based on real life events. But when you watch that documentary, you understand you're not watching the actual event. And the truth about the fire that is to come is this, that real earth was already destroyed. So when you hear us say something about fire and the sun and how the earth will be scorched, understand that's only in this simulation. And little children, those of you who are conscious and awake, you've heard the truth now. The dead are under the curse of death, and they will repeat history. They'll go into the Bible and let history captivate their minds because they do not love God. But I'm a voice in the Spirit sent to reach out to you who do love God, to you who love the truth. You don't have to repeat history anymore. You don't have to be a slave to death. But you can break that curse if you can hear my voice. You don't have to perpetuate the system of Satan anymore. You don't have to be a servant to the alien race of the Anunnaki. You don't have to stay dead in a watery grave. Now, I was a person that liked to go to theme parks. And I enjoyed this particular theme park you know as Disneyland. And in Disneyland, there are two notable rides that best convey this message about how you're not really alive, how your body is actually dead. There's the Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's a small world. For in those rides, you have machines that are programmed to sing songs and to say certain words. The pirates, they're programmed with an audible voice, and they have a voice box, a machine that records words, and they play these words as you pass by these animated machines. They'll say that it's a pirate's life for me. And when you're going through a small world, there are machines made to look like children. They appear lifelike. And they sing a song that it's a small world after all. Well, little children, what's the difference between those machines and Bible worshipers who tell you that all scriptures are given by inspiration of God? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. What's the difference between the Bible worshiper and those animatronic machines at Disneyland? Both have been programmed. Both are not speaking from the heart. Just because you hear a machine say it's a small world, that it's a pirate's life for me, doesn't mean that you're hearing a real child, doesn't make them alive. It doesn't mean you're hearing from a real pirate, doesn't make it alive. They're still machines. So it is when you hear them every Saturday and Sunday, that Bible sorcery gets up there and makes you repeat all scriptures are given by inspiration of God. They're trying to program you so that you're not able to speak from your heart. And little children, that's the only way God can hear your voice, is you got to be able to speak from the heart. And the devil didn't want you to hear this message that you already did, because he doesn't want you to be free from his control. But I'm sit here so you can be free. See, the Creator cannot hear a Bible worshiper, because everything a Bible worshiper says is scripted. Everything a Bible worshiper says is the equivalent of it's a small world and it's a pirate's life for me. See, he can only hear words that come from one's heart. And he's telling you, speak from your heart. Speak words that tell God that you really want him. Speak words that tell God that you want to be made alive. Speak words from your heart, little child. You precious soul, I was sent to tell you the truth, that faith was hijacked, that you're in a digital simulation, that you're not your body, and that means you're not in the real world, but you're in the world of the dead. And that means that the Bible is not the word of God, but it's the word of death. The Bible is an alien implant, little child. And if you're going to break free from it, you got to let the Creator come on the inside of you. Take your faith out of the book of the dead. Put your faith on the inside of your heart, because that's where God is found. The Bible is an alien implant. The Bible is the book of the dead.